The Winter War by Priscilla Shirer with Gina Detweiler. Chapter 31. Back in the Cave. Levi was still shaking when he landed in the cave. His friends were already there. Xavier with his tall staff, Evan, Manuel, Brianna, Ivy, and Finn. They all had on the white clothes and armor as he did. Many other Prince warriors were present too, but not nearly as many as the first time they had gathered in the cave that winter. "There you are," said Brianna. "We were getting worried about you. Is everything okay?" Levi swallowed hard. My dad's back in the hospital. They hooked him up to a machine that breathes for him, and I heard the doctor say the word coma." "What?" Brianna gasped. "When did that happen?" "Just before I came here. They aren't sure what happened. He seemed to be doing fine, and then he just..." For the first time since his father had become sick, Levi felt his knees, put his hands to his face, and cried. The others just stared, not knowing what to do. Then Brianna moved toward him and, kneeling beside him, carefully put her hand on his shoulder. She closed her eyes, blinking away tears. Following her lead, Ivy knelt and put her hands on both their shoulders. Manuel, Xavier, and Evan followed suit, linking them all together. Then Finn, whose arms were long enough to wrap around all of them. They knelt together in the midst of the great gathering of warriors, holding on to each other and their friends in pain. Warriors. Warriors! The kids looked up to see Ruach standing before them, but no one else in the cave seemed able to see him. They continued to shuffle about and talk to each other as if nothing were happening. Ruach was surrounded in sparks, so he shone very brightly as he had that day in the rec center when confronting Victor. The sounds of chatter in the cave had dimmed as well, as if someone had hit a mute button. Ruach glided toward Levi, the others moving out of the way. Then Ruach too placed his glowing hand on Levi's shoulder. Levi felt his whole body grow warm and light, as if he could float up into the air, as if he could fly. His tears dried, leaving no trails on his cheeks. He glanced around and saw that his friends had experienced the same thing, as they were all connected to each other. It was as if Ruach had placed himself inside their hearts, taking up all the empty spaces, crowding out even the memory of their present sadness. "There is a time for everything," Ruach said in the softest voice they had ever heard him use. "A time for laughter, a time for tears, a time for peace, a time for war." Levi rose to his feet, as did the others. He stood straight, his eyes steady on Ruach, and he bowed. "I'm ready," he said. "But my father..." "You will see him again," said Ruach. Levi sucked in a breath at this news. He managed a small smile. Ruach then turned to Xavier. "You must lead the warriors today," he said. "Me?" said Xavier, "but I..." He paused, knowing the others were staring at him, either in shock or dismay. "Why me?" "Because I gave you the staff," said Ruach, pointing one glowing hand at Xavier's stick. Xavier nodded, swallowing hard. "You have the armor," Ruach said, addressing all of them. "Use it, and use every gift I have given you, and every word I have spoken. You will need them this day." The mute button went off, and the sounds of many warriors in the cave filled their ears again. Ruach was no longer standing before them. He reappeared in the air, high above all their heads, surrounded by sparks, who created a nimbus of light around him. "Warriors," Ruach spoke, his voice once again like music, but not gentle trill this time. It was a crashing symphony. "You have been given a task to defeat the renegade General Thane and to take back the mountain of Rima. This will not be an easy day. You are likely to see and hear things you don't understand at first. You are likely to be afraid. Remember your mission. Know I will be with you. You need only to do your part, and remember this above all. You have everything you need." The warriors cheered wildly, raising their arms high in the air as the music burst over them like a tidal wave, drowning out the walls of the cave so that everything was light and sound. The warriors hushed, thrown for a moment into a blinding radiance, and then in a flash, it was gone again.